Welcome back to the Voice Weekly Recap. My name is Sean.
And I'm Chris.
We are recording at an unusual time, I'd say, for what we have set up previously. It is morning, and that is because Chris and I have become to be on opposing schedules.
Completely opposite.
As previously mentioned, Chris is a doctor, and every so often that kind of work will mean that you have to operate on a 24-hour schedule.
And in this case, I'm on night service for 2 weeks.
So I woke up a little over an hour ago, and Chris just got home from work. And after this, how long will it be before you go to bed?
I'll probably finish this, crash, wake up around 5, 6 o'clock, shower, eat, go to work for 8, and do the whole process again the next day.
I can't imagine having to do that for 2 weeks.
It's tough. It's not. I at least get the weekend off, which is nice. But Fridays is especially hard because Friday I have to go to work in the clinic in the morning from 8 a.m. to 12. So I pull a 16-hour shift Thursday into Friday.
Ooh, ugh.
Yeah.
And then Saturday and Sunday, are you just gonna stay sleeping during the day? I mean, you can't switch back.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to stay awake at night. So I'll have plenty of time to record in peace and quiet.
That's true. That's true.
That's the goal anyway. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, where I work, we have a third shift that handles like grocery stocking and stuff, and they do that all year, and I can't imagine working 11 to 7 every single day overnight.
Yeah, especially because when you get the off day, it's like, where do you go at 3 a.m. in the morning other than like McDonald's?
Yeah, that's true. Our store isn't even open. It's not open 24 hours, so these poor people can't even like take advantage of our great like prepared meals and stuff because they can't buy them.
Oh man.
I know.
That's even harder.
So I guess you weren't able to watch the shows live. You had to play catch up, right?
Yeah, every day because work starts right when the show starts.
Well, I was watching them live and I tweeted about them, and at some point I was like, oh, Chris isn't here.
Yeah, I realized that you realized that at some point because the next day Twitter was very quiet while I was working.
It's not the same.
Yeah, I was like, it's like, what am I missing? No.
I follow like the main voice feeds, so when the voice is on, all of a sudden my Twitter feed is updating like every couple seconds. I have people tweeting about it, and then it goes quiet again.
Okay.
So this was the first week of battle rounds, and we got to see, I guess it was 11. Well, we got to see 9 battles, although there were 11.
Right.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Yeah, we will.
I'm not happy.
Me neither.
And we were introduced to our team advisors, who were commissioned by the coaches. I keep wanting to say judges, and they're not judges.
I know. I wanted to do that too.
Adam asked Mary J. Blige to join him. CeeLo had Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. Christina Aguilera asked Billy Joe Armstrong before he had his little like rampage thing the other week and smashed a guitar and went to rehab.
Right.
And Blake Shelton had his friend Michael Bublé on. I thought it was really funny. Michael Bublé thought that no one would recognize him.
Oh my God, that was too funny when he said that.
My wife was like, "It's Michael Bublé," and I was like, "Well, yeah, we know who he is, but I don't know. There might be 1 or 2 people on the teams who don't know."
Yeah, it depends what kind of music you listen to. I don't really listen to his music, so I don't really know his face as well. But I mean, when I saw him, I was like, that guy, I at least I know I recognized him.
I bet most people on Team Blake would recognize him. Maybe some of the really young girls on Team Christina would be like, "Who's that guy?"
Right.
But they got Billy Joe Armstrong. I think most of those people are going to know who Green Day is.
Oh, yeah.
And they did. Some of them freaked out.
Yeah, I would have been like, oh my God, it's Billy Joe Armstrong. Holy crap. Like, I love Green Day.
So this was the first season that they have introduced this mechanic of stealing. If a contestant loses the battle, which is decided by their coach, the other 3 judges have the option of stealing that contestant and putting them on their team. I like this mechanic, generally. Overall, I like this little change to the game.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I like it a lot.
Alicia was asking, Do they have to steal 2 contestants?
That thought didn't cross my mind. I guess they just made 2 available.
I don't know how the next stage is going to work, because it seems like if they don't steal 2 contestants, they're going to be out. They're not going to have the correct matchups.
Well, yeah, because what do we do if they end up with an odd number?
So I don't know if they've declared that they have to steal 2 contestants, but I just have a feeling that they all will.
Yeah, I could see that happening, especially with the way this week went.
They're going to end up with 8 people from their original team and then 2 people stolen from the other team. So they'll all have 10 contestants.
Right.
And then I don't know. Carson keeps talking about the knockout round, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because he keeps mentioning it. I'm like, okay. I'm kind of learning as we go too with some of this stuff.
Yeah, we'll watch and follow along and figure it out as it goes. So the first matchup of the week was Blake's team. We had Casey Music Man, who you may remember from the blind auditions was the big cowboy who kept slapping his ass, which was which was funny.
Oh yeah.
And Terry McDermott, who was I don't want to mix up Scottish and Irish.
I think he was a Scottish rocker.
Scottish? Yes, I just double checked. He's Scottish. Okay. And this was I was kind of surprised that this was the opening of the battle rounds, because it was a bit underwhelming. Yeah,
I was. As soon as I was watching it on the replay and it said that they're singing Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas, I was immediately extremely biased because I love that song.
It's a great song.
And it's a great drum cover by somebody we know.
I'll make sure to put it in the info.
I seriously, I play that one more often than the original song just because.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love that song. It's so good. And it's just, so I was just like going to this, I was like, oh, they better do good. And I was okay with it.
Yeah, Terry tried out with The Who, right?
I believe so.
So this just naturally followed that he could handle classic rock and like that kind of soaring vocal sound. Casey was a country guy. He's the one who Blake said, "I hear boots."
Right.
And he was definitely not as comfortable with this song.
Yeah, and you could see it even when he was rehearsing.
I really like that they show the rehearsals, because you can see in a lot of these cases how contestants go from not knowing a song at all to really nailing it sometimes. Like, they just really get it.
Oh, yeah.
And this one, I wouldn't say the actual battle turned out horrible for either one of them, but clearly Terry had this. And I don't know if it just came down to song choice or what, but he knew this song and he just got it. Yeah, and he had one spot in particular during that song I was listening, and I immediately went, yes, you. So neither one of these guys were my favorite people in the competition, but I think that Blake made the correct choice in choosing Terry McDermott.
As do I.
And I'm not really surprised that no one saved Casey Music Man. It's okay.
Yep.
The next battle was Adam's team. We had Brian Keith and Colin McLaughlin.
Laughlin. I think it's Laughlin.
Yeah, I think you're right. Every time I see it spelled, I'm like, that's not the way it's pronounced, but that doesn't help me actually pronounce it.
Right.
He gave them Santeria, which I also did I cover that song?
I think so.
Wait.
Or you covered a Sublime song.
Okay, well, I like Sublime. Anyway,
yeah.
I'll go check to see if I covered that or not. It's just interesting how many of the songs that I cover end up on this show. I should be like a music advisor for them.
Seriously.
Just saying, Hollywood. Yeah. I'm here.
No.
So he gave them the Sublime song, which I was surprised how well the two of them both performed this song. I was, first of all, surprised that he picked a Sublime song, and then second, surprised how well they both really handled it.
Yeah, I thought they both did really well with it. And I love this song, too, so again, I was biased.
Yeah, it's a good song. And during the the rehearsal, there was something that I found really interesting, especially in contrast with something that Christina did later. I forget which one I think it was Brian, was performing a lyric in a way that Adam was like, that's not how you do that lyric. The timing should be like this. And I said something out loud to Alicia, like, why is he telling him exactly how to sing that line? Why can't he sing it any way he wants to sing it? And then later, when Christina was advising someone, I forget what, it must have been on Message in a Bottle. No, it was the second night. She told them basically to sing it however they wanted to sing it. And I was like, isn't that what Adam should be telling his contestants?
Right, because the idea is to be them, not someone else, I guess is how I thought about it. But yeah, I found that interesting too when he said that. And I was like,
Yeah, he just wanted them to get it exactly the way that it was originally sung. And I thought, there is merit in that, but there's also... doing it your own way is also interesting and respectable.
Right.
So I'm not over the moon about Colin. When this battle was over and Adam selected Brian, I was really surprised that not one but two judges opted to save Colin from being eliminated, especially knowing some of the contestants that hadn't sung yet.
Yeah, I think that's what it was for me too. I was like, okay, I thought Colin did well, but then I was like, okay, two people went to steal him. Okay, good. And then I'm thinking, like, well, wait a minute, I still haven't heard like some of the really, really, really good people yet. So,
yeah, you know. I was very surprised by that steal.
Yeah,
I bet Colin was too.
I think so.
Like, oh, thank goodness. I really like Brian Keith's natural vocal style. I felt like this song was perfect for him. I'm excited to see what he does when he can pick his own songs.
Yeah.
That, of course, is the difference between the auditions and the battle rounds, and then later when the contestants can pick their own songs, because this is always the coaches pick the song.
Yep. That's
a very different animal to tackle.
Yeah.
The third battle was CeeLo's team. We had Diego Val and JR Aquino. And he gave them Jesse's Girl, which it seemed like JR knew like the back of his hand. Diego Val didn't know at all.
Right.
This was one of those cases where we see rehearsals and Diego doesn't know the melody, doesn't know the words. Also, his first language is Spanish.
Yep.
It was a little bit of a train wreck.
Yeah, rehearsals was tough.
So I'm gonna assume that, like me, this is one of the ones that you would not have called it for the winner.
Oh, absolutely. I fully expected what I thought would be JR winning.
Right.
And he didn't.
I bet he thought he had it.
I thought he had it too. Even after like the battle happened, I'm like, I was really impressed with how Diego got the song down for that. I was like, okay, he went from nothing to, all right, he's at least got it. But I'm like sitting there going, JR, man, he nailed it. And then CeeLo's like, I choose Diego. And I was like, well, huh? But maybe it was me because I really liked JR when he auditioned.
Yeah, I really did too.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, oh man.
This was interesting because Alicia like changed her vote halfway through the song. She was with us and she really liked JR, and during the battle performance she said, "You know what? I think I'm going to change my mind." And I was like, "Really?" And wow. She was like, "Yeah, I think I like him more." And I think he's good, but I really think this learning curve of both the language and all the music that he doesn't know is going to be a real problem very soon.
Yeah, it's going to catch up with him eventually because they have less and less time to learn the songs as it goes.
And he's not doing what Mariachi Boy does and choosing to sing parts of songs in Spanish. Like,
right.
He's trying to sing the actual song, which is fine, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it is.
So this was after they saved Colin. I couldn't believe that no one saved JR.
Oh, I couldn't believe it either.
That was really bizarre. And the next one just got worse. The next battle was Team Christina, and it was between two of my favorite contestants in the entire competition. I don't know I don't know if the pairings are by the coaches themselves or if the producers have something to say about it, because the coaches do have said several times, like, I decided to pair you two or whatever, but I feel like no coach would put some of these people together because it means that one of them's going to be eliminated, and sometimes they're just both so good.
Right.
This is one of those times. Deborah and Nelly's Echo were two of my favorite blind auditions, period. Christina put them together, and she gave them the Police's Message in a Bottle. This battle could not have been better. I wish that on iTunes it was not just the winner of the battle singing the song. I want the duet version of them singing the song.
I presume on iTunes that it was the duet version, because I'm like, how do you just have one person who won singing this song?
I know.
Sang it, right? And then, now I know.
They were going to commercial, and Carson said, like, remember, you can buy the winner's version of this song. And I was like, just the winner? Are you kidding?
Yeah, because it was phenomenal.
It was so good. And this in the rehearsals, we saw that Deborah was really struggling with this song. And Nelly's Echo, it was just like, he said he'd never sung it before, but he knew it, and he had it. It was perfect.
Yeah, right from the beginning. I was like, wow, for only hearing the song like a couple of times or something, he said, like, he knew it cold.
They came out, did the battle. It was amazing. It was actually, I think, out of all of these battles this week, this was my favorite performance, period.
I got one I like later.
Okay.
That's just because I think how the whole thing transpired. I was like, oh, I like this one.
When the song was over and it was Christina's battle, so Carson always talks to the other judges first, gives them some time to decide. And I thought it was really weird. CeeLo remarked, like, I think it was to Deborah, he remarked, like, this song was straight up rock. And I was like, no, it's not. This song is reggae. It's like 100% reggae. He works in the industry. Why does he think that the Police perform rock?
I don't know.
It's like, the most reggae infused rock I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So Christina went with Deborah, which I'd say out of the two of these people, I still like Deborah more. But why no one saved Nelly's Echo? I think I threw everything in my hands away. I was like, what?
I was dumbfounded. I even wrote in my notes, like, I couldn't even believe no one stole him.
He's extremely talented, and he's way more talented than a lot of the people that make it through these battle rounds.
Yeah.
Ugh, I was so mad.
But there is one good note. You did get your happy tears for this one.
Yeah.
So
I freaking love Deborah and her family. She's got both of her parents that are like so proud of her, and they're standing on the side of the stage just weeping in joy.
Yeah, they were all very happy, and I was happy for them. That was
Deborah, I would love to see in the finals. I love her attitude. I love her talent. I love her humility. I just really like her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely growing on me more than she was with just battle rounds, because you only get a little bit. Now it's like, okay, you can see it's like she really wants this and is so just, yeah, it was good.
The next battle was Blake's second battle of the night. It was an all-country, what did he call it, a barn burner?
Yes.
I was like, wow, this guy is so from Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
So he brought out Gracia Harrison, who you may remember as the Yodeler.
Oh, yeah, I did not forget.
And his country duo, Two Steel Girls. And unfortunately, I was really surprised the other coaches liked this so much. He gave them the most country-sounding, what's their name?
The Dixie Chicks.
Dixie Chicks song I've ever heard.
Sin Wagon.
Sin Wagon.
As soon as I heard, he said Sin Wagon first, I was like, okay. I go, I don't know who sings this song. He goes, it's by the Dixie Chicks. And I went, ugh. Because I just can't listen to the Dixie Chicks at all.
I've heard several Dixie Chick songs that I would describe as like way more pop friendly, and he gave them this song that's like, it really is like a bar. Like, I can't think of a better description than a barn burner. It's like, stomp your feet. There's like there's a fiddler in the corner, and
yeah, everybody's square dancing.
And this performance I thought was the weakest of the night, and it had nothing to do with the countryness of it. What I thought was really weak was these people didn't have any stage presence. They sang the entire song to each other. They didn't use blocking. They didn't walk around. They didn't look at the audience very much. Yeah,
they didn't do a lot of anything. And I was like, this was the most disappointing one out of the whole thing too for me. I was less like, I picked Gracia. I was like, I think she's gonna win. I go, but I don't know.
I have a feeling that against a duo, a single person probably has the advantage. It's just, that's really tough. Yeah, unless you've got a duo against a duo.
Right, because I was thinking, I go 2 against 1. That could be tough for the one person. Like, but if the 2 people aren't in unison for a lot of it, and they're like butting up against each other as the duo, then the single person's gonna like outshine them.
Right, that's the problem.
And I thought that kind of happened with this song too, a little bit in spots. You can hear where they weren't in sync together when they should have been.
So when they went to the other coaches and Carson asked what they thought, all of them were very praise giving, and I was like, really? None of you had a problem with this?
Yeah, because
it was weird. It was weird for me. So Blake saved Gracia, and this was one of those cases where they barely had anything from the eliminated contestant because it looked like they couldn't handle it. The young girl was crying, and she had like one thing to say, like, we had our chance, and they were like, okay, commercial, go.
Yeah, scram.
Get away from her.
It's Sean's sad tears. Don't show them.
So this was a weird matchup for me. I wish Blake had put his country artists against people who were not country artists. I think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care about the outcome of this particular battle.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
So
Dixie Chicks, enough said.
The last battle of the night was CeeLo's team. He brought out Trevin Hunt, who was the young guy from New York who he blew everyone away in the blind auditions, and Amanda Brown, who came out singing Valerie, which we had this whole debate about when that song is from.
Right.
To clarify, we resolved this on Twitter, but we didn't talk about it on the podcast. That song really is from 2007. And it's by a band called the Klaxons, and I will make sure I put it in the info because you should listen to the original song. It sounds nothing like Motown at all. It was rewritten by Amy Winehouse to sound like that. That's the version that Amanda Brown sang.
Okay.
It's a really good song. I actually listened to it several times after I found the original version. It's on YouTube, and I was like, wow, this is really good. But she was one of the people who only CeeLo turned around for, and clearly the rest of the coaches made a huge mistake, because this was a great showdown.
Oh, this one was my favorite of the night, because it's just because coming into it, I remembered how the blind auditions went for this one, and I was like, okay, Trevin's probably going to outshine.
You'd think that he would have the advantage going into it for sure.
Yeah, and then they start going through the rehearsal and everything. I'm like, okay, she's doing all right with it. And then we got to the battle, and I was like, oh my god.
I think Trevin had the advantage just from the blind auditions. Amanda had the advantage in that CeeLo chose the song Vision of Love by Mariah Carey, and Amanda said immediately, like, I've been singing Mariah my entire life.
Right.
And Trevin's an 18-year-old dude, so
yes,
this was not in his wheelhouse.
Right. I always say guys singing girls' songs does not always work out that well.
The good thing for him is he does have a really good, like, Luther Vandross falsetto. Like, he can hit those notes, he can scream, and he sounds good.
Right.
And so it was a great showdown, great battle. This had everyone on their feet. Carson, I love when Carson comes out and offers his opinion, because he'll walk up and be like, wow, that was a great battle.
Yeah.
Because no one normally asks him for his opinion.
Right. So when he gets a chance, he throws it right in, and he's all happy about it. And I'm going through this battle going the whole time going, somebody's stealing one of them regardless of the decision.
Okay, so here's my problem with the steal mechanic. I like what it does. I like that it saves a good contestant from elimination because they're up against another good contestant. That's good. I like that. What I don't like is the way that they decide to edit the show so that it completely gives away that person is safe. The entire show, they kept showing clips from the end of the show, and they were like, this battle is going to get everyone on their feet, and the coaches are going to steal someone. I was like, well, why are you telling us?
Yeah, there's no surprise in it.
There's no suspense, there's no surprise, and I'm like, the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, well, it doesn't matter who he saves because the other person's safe too.
Right.
So it was kind of a mystery to me who he was going to choose. I did not know until he said the words, I have to go with my gut and who I feel like I can help the most. And as soon as he said that, I was like, he's picking Trevin.
Yeah.
I think he just identifies with Trevin, this young, insecure black man. I bet CeeLo was there one time.
Yeah.
And he knew that Amanda was safe because the other coaches had all said, we're gonna steal her.
Yeah, I think Adam even said it. He's like, I'm hitting
He was already pressing his button.
He's like, oh, I don't care who it is. I'm hitting my button. I was like, all right.
So that was comforting for her. It took all of the pressure off of her after the song was over.
Yeah.
So CeeLo saved Trevin, which is cool. I like Trevin on CeeLo's team, and every other coach turned around for Amanda, but for some reason she decided to go with Team Adam.
Probably because he said, no matter what, I'm hitting my button first. That's the only reason I can come up with.
I don't think she would have gone with Blake regardless. I wouldn't have been able to guess if she was going to pick Adam or Christina, but she went with Adam. So that was the end of the first night, and that was a 2-hour show, and they only got 6 battles in. And they said the next night when they started that they were going to have 10 contestants in an hour, and I was like, oh wow, that's a lot. I wonder how they're going to do that.
Well, we found out.
The first battle of the night was Team CeeLo. Again, they ended with CeeLo and they opened with CeeLo. And he paired up Dammo, D to the O to the M to the O, with Cody, who was the guy who was the very last blind audition, the one who freaked out when he realized that CeeLo had picked him for his team.
Yes.
And I am in love with this kid. I love Cody.
Yeah.
His attitude is great.
Yeah, I really like how he's very honest with his emotions and how he feels about things, which I like.
CeeLo gave them the song Telephone by Lady Gaga, which actually I really don't like this song. I just don't.
Yeah, I never really heard it.
The first version I heard of it, I will make sure I link to, is the version by Pomplamoose, who's a YouTube cover band. They have originals as well. And they have a very toned down version of the song. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I saw who it was. I was like, Lady Gaga and Beyonce. Oh, that's cool. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No. So anyway, these two paired together, I think, was very interesting because they seemed to have a lot of chemistry between them, a lot of good vibes. They weren't competing so much as showing off, which actually is something that the coaches picked up on when they started talking to them. Yeah,
very quickly.
But this was another clear case where it looked like Dammo had the advantage because she's a woman and this is her kind of song. And Cody, who came in with the Counting Crows song in the blind auditions, and seemed more of like a country rocker might have the disadvantage, but that's not the way it worked out.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed too was that if they did a lot of choreography with it, and they wouldn't show CeeLo at the rehearsals.
Yes, they refused to show him.
Yeah,
ahead of time.
We want it to be a surprise. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But then it seemed like they put a lot of it into the choreography and not as much into the singing part of it.
Yeah, they didn't really do anything more than what the song already was with the singing.
Right.
They just left it alone, and it was fine, but it wasn't anything great.
Right. So CeeLo didn't seem thrilled with it when they were done with the battle. I kind of got that vibe from him looking at him when he was like watching and everything.
Yeah.
But I chose wrong.
Did you?
I did.
Well, see, I guess I was thinking what I would pick. I was kind of ignoring what I thought CeeLo would pick, because if you would have asked me, I would have said yes, CeeLo would go with Dammo, but he didn't.
Yeah, I thought she improved a lot with it, and she really toned it for me. She really toned it down from her audition.
Yeah, you're right.
And I was like, wow, and like it kind of all went well together. I was like, I think she did a little bit, but this is the problem with the battle rounds for me is I sit there and I watch it, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, who do I pick for like half of them, if not more?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, maybe this person a little bit more, and I tend to be wrong. but yeah,
personally, I really liked Cody more. I guess even up to the moment that he said his name, I was expecting him to pick Dammo. I guess you're right.
Yeah, I like Cody more than Dammo when she was auditioning. Just because I didn't care for her audition as much, so I really wanted Cody to win anyway. But I was like going through this, going, God, I think she just did better, but like not by much. Like for me, it was so close. I kind of end up guessing at the end sometimes.
Yeah, I told Chris before we started, I just eventually gave up trying to predict at a certain point, because I was just like, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I really should have, because man,
I think CeeLo is probably the most unpredictable out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he picked Dammo in the first place.
Right.
So anyway, Cody stuck around. Dammo was eliminated. No one saved her. I don't think anyone else would be willing to put up with her attitude.
Yeah, probably.
So the second battle was Team Christina between Aquil, I know I'm getting that name right, and Natalie Hernandez. What was this song? Now I'm forgetting.
You Give Me Something by James Morrison.
Okay. This was like a song, pop song a couple years ago. And this was Aquil is this was a weird matchup. See, this wasn't like Amanda Brown and Trevin Hunt where they're just like powerhouses against each other. This was Aquil, who seems very natural, and he seems to have a lot of experience under his belt. And Natalie Hernandez is this 15-year-old girl who has a lot of talent, but it's underdeveloped, and she doesn't have the self-confidence of some of these performers.
Yeah.
So that was a interesting dynamic to play with in the battle. This is a more interesting battle to me than Powerhouse screaming at Powerhouse.
Yeah.
So,
it's definitely fun to watch. For me, I felt like, I don't know what you felt, but I felt like Aquil just like took it the whole time at the battle round.
Yeah.
Like I felt like he just overshadowed her completely, and I think once he started to overshadow her, she kind of backed off a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't think you're gonna win, and I chose Aquil to win it.
And he wasn't doing it in a way like pushing her out of the spotlight or anything.
Right.
She could have shown brighter. She could have just stepped up and been like, no, I'm not going to let you do that. But that was her personality. She wasn't. Maybe she'll come back next year and have a better, more confident attitude.
Yeah.
So this one was not really that hard of a choice for Christina, I think. Aquil is someone who I could definitely see making it to semifinals or finals.
Definitely.
He's going to go up against Deborah eventually because they're both on the same team.
Right. That's gonna be a good one to watch.
So after this battle, it was already something like the show started at 8:00. It was something like 8:35, and I was like, "Geez, how are they going to get 3 more battles in before 9:00? This is only an hour show."
Yeah, and for me, I'm watching it because for the condensed version online, which I'm watching. So if everybody needs to catch up, go to their website and watch it for the full episode. It was like a 44-minute episode online with the commercial breaks, and I was already, I want to say 25 minutes in, and I'm like looking at this going, I'm more than halfway through. There's 3 more battles to go. So I was like, what are they going to do?
And then we found out what they were going to do. They were going to skip through 2 battles and just show us the outcomes.
And I was so disappointed.
So I previously mentioned that last year I was following the Shields brothers and their journey through The Voice. And they got past blind auditions. They got on CeeLo's team. And they got to battle rounds, and that's when they were eliminated. And last year, when they did the battle rounds, they did what they've been doing, what they did for Monday night's episode, where they show you the coach announces the matchup. They show a little bit of rehearsals. They show you the teams, each contestant meeting the mentors. Then they show the battle. And if you're going to lose the battle, it's really important for your brand and for your artistry to get that kind of exposure, because if you're going to lose, that's the only exposure you're going to get. And when they did it on Tuesday and they just showed seconds of the battle and then showed these 2 girls, well, it was a girl and a guy, Lisa Cinta and Charlie Ray, eliminated. We saw 5 or 10 seconds of them, and they're gone now.
And if I'm not mistaken, did Lisa Cinta, wasn't she one that we didn't see during blind auditions? Wasn't she one of the quick ones that came through too?
Oh, you might be right. Yes, she was.
Yeah, so now I'm even like, well, thanks. Like,
well, that explains why they just skipped through her there too. And that really sucks for her.
Yeah, because now you know nothing about her from the blind auditions. You know nothing about her from the battle rounds except for the 10 seconds. It's like, why'd she even go on the show?
Right.
I mean, I was sitting there when this happened. When this came on, I said, I'd rather sit here for an extra week of battle rounds just to see everybody and know what they can do. And now I have nothing except a name for somebody.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Yeah. And it made me sad.
So I'm glad that the person who she was up against was Celica Westbrook, who I did really like in blind audition. She was the one that I couldn't decide how old she actually was. She looks like she's 25, but she's like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And the second match, honestly, I wouldn't have really cared about, but I still felt like they ripped off Charlie Ray. Rudy Paris, the old guy, the grandpa country rocker,
right,
with the awful hair, that's the guy who ended up winning that battle.
Yeah.
So at the same time that I'm not that upset that I missed it, I'm also disappointed that the show would just skip through that whole thing.
Yeah, I was really disappointed too.
So what they were skipping through to get to was the final battle of the night, which was Team Adams, Caitlyn Michelle against Melanie Martinez. And this song called Lights, which apparently is a very popular song, Alicia tells me, but I don't remember ever hearing before.
Me neither.
Is it obvious that I don't listen to pop radio?
Yeah, same thing here. I've got some other songs that came up earlier. I was just like, what song? Who?
Yeah, like Jesse's Girl. You're like, yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I love Jesse's Girl. Yeah, I got that one. Sure.
But Lights by Ellie Goulding? Don't know this song.
Never. I got nothing.
So this was like the Aquil and Natalie Hernandez matchup. This was a huge difference in styles. Melanie Martinez is the one who tried out with Toxic by Britney Spears, and she did like a stripped down guitar tambourine version. She's got a lot of character. Her voice is very... I keep wanting to go to Bjork. Like, she's got this very whispery kind of voice. It's great. I really like her. And then Caitlyn Michelle was this kind of... She actually sounded a lot like the original once I listened to it. It's kind of operatic, and she's got a lot of drama and theatrics to her voice. It's very powerful.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I really liked how they did the performance. And you can really see... What I liked about this battle in particular was that you could, from watching it, it wasn't like the powerhouse versus powerhouse. You could see each one's niche in the song and how each one was taking it.
Right. They didn't try and do it the same way.
Right, which I thought was great because now I'm sitting here, I'm like, finally, I could pick between people.
You could pick, but the other coaches couldn't pick.
Right. And I was just like, I like this person more, and... Again, if I'm not mistaken, let me look. Was I right? No, I was wrong in my choice.
Who did you pick?
I chose Caitlyn.
Okay, I just like Melanie more. I favored her the whole way. But, I mean, singer against singer, I think that Caitlyn has the better natural voice. I just like Melanie more.
Yeah.
And so after it was over, Carson called it on the judges, and he went straight down the line because it was Adam's team. So he went to Blake, then Christina, then CeeLo. All three of them said basically, I don't know who I'd pick.
Right. And as that was going on, I'm like, yeah, gee, I wonder why they don't know who they're going to pick. Because they want the other person.
They don't want to offer an opinion because they suddenly realize what the steel dynamic has done to the panel.
Right.
So Adam fights his way through a very difficult decision and ends up going with Melanie, probably knowing that Caitlyn is probably, whichever one he doesn't pick is probably safe, and it was immediate. CeeLo and Blake both went in for Caitlyn.
Yeah.
And she was crying and smiling and very happy.
Yeah. And CeeLo got his Dark Princess.
Come to me, my Dark Princess.
That was great.
Best line of the night.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first week of Battle Rounds. Let us know who some of your favorite contestants were. I'm very interested to know if any of your favorites were eliminated. Nelly's Echo.
I know. I hear you.
I'm so sad to see him go. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I will be live tweeting about The Voice next week. Chris will catch on in the weeks that follow, probably.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you could, of course, tweet when you're about to watch the show.
I should. I think I tweeted that I was blowing my choices in the battles at like yesterday morning when I was catching up, or afternoon.
Yeah.
During my second catch-up phase. But no worries. I'm only going to miss one more live set for sure next week because of night flow. But then I go on service, so it depends on what my call schedule is. But I don't think I'm on call any Mondays, so I should be able to watch.
Cool. So make sure you come back here next week to check out our next recap, and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.